Theo, what is Thursday, July 15th, 2021, a couple minutes before 10 o'clock. We're doing another live football, guys, for the Half Milli Billies. We're here to ship it. Theo, first of all, welcome to the show. What's going on?
Nothing. I'm fired up. I'm excited. Last time we drafted an absolute monster, and we've attracted some sharks who want a little bit of the smoke, and they want a piece of it. And we've got Josh McAtee, we've got Andrew Geller, we've got Dave Hubbard, we've got Beeb Agbatoba. This is a loaded room by FFPC standards, about as loaded as it can get on a random 10 o'clock on a Thursday. So I'm stoked. I mean, we've been having some nice builds here, Andrew, and I would like to continue that. We keep drafting from the back end of the draft.
We've gone 12, 10, and then now 10 again.
And 12, 10, and 10 again, and then I believe you were in the 12 slot for your main event that recently.
For the first slow main event too.
Yeah, so you're living life in the back half of the draft. It was not a bad place to be.
This is where I live my life.
Yeah, so I mean, our targets are kind of the same. We like our usual group of about 5 guys we think that will be there. I know that with Abib and Guilds right next to us, or close enough to us, I know it's going to be a little more difficult for us to extract value, but I'm sure we're going to be all right.
Yeah, so let's go through some of the friends of the show. You just mentioned them. We got Josh McAtee. He's in the 4 spot tonight. Hubbard, I think he is. Yeah, he's sitting in 7. Hopefully, he doesn't mind us giving away his spot. Abib is in 9. We're 10, and then Andrew Geller, the Guilds, is in 12. Theo, let me bring up a concept to you before we kick off, because you brought it up, right? We drafted out of the 10th spot last time. We got a ton of views. Everyone was loving it. It was an absolute dumpster fire of a draft. Here's the problem, Theo. I had this concept in college where we used to make this like hunch punch type crap, right? And every single drink it, things would be going on at the end, year over year, a new class would learn the recipe, they'd make it differently. But the problem
we called it jungle juice when I was in college.
Jungle juice. So we called it blue. I was trying to use like some maybe national terminology, but fair enough. Everyone knows what we're talking about. But the problem was everyone who was older, the sophomores, juniors, and seniors, would always have the same complaint, Theo. Blue is always better freshman year. Do you think that tonight is going to be a huge sophomore slump for us, where just like the content was just so great last draft, and everyone's going to be looking at this one and be like, well, everything was better last draft, everything was better freshman year, or you think that we're about to draft another wagon tonight?
So I'm confident in our abilities to adjust on the fly. I think that we won't see the type of wackiness like Patrick Mahomes in the first round.
Yeah.
Shout out to the team. I forgot their name, but the team that made all the crazy picks that allowed us to extract some value. So I'm confident in our abilities. I think that when one door closes, another opens in these things. You just have to be able to roll with the punches and be flexible. So after pick 10, it's all bets are off. We're hopeful of who we will get, but with the Guilds at the 12-13, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and he promised, and he's going to come on. So I don't know if he's listening now, but he promised that he was going to make it interesting out of that 12 spot. So we'll see how that goes, and if he lives up to the promise that he made in the DMs. So I posted one thing. So Casey McCoy, thanks for listening and participating in the chat. It's awesome. Yeah, it is really fun. Like, look, like at least on my end, right? Like, I've not shipped anything yet. It's all a learning process, right? But I absolutely love playing the game at the end of these. Who's the rake? And sometimes if you can't spot the rake, sometimes you are the rake. And obviously it's all meant in good fun. But we're definitely playing Who's the Rake at the end of the episode here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And occasionally you get into a draft like this, where there's some very good players, and there might not be it'll be harder to spot the rake. Hopefully, if this draft is as competitive as we think, we just don't want to be that rake. So, so normal start. McCaffrey 1, and now Kelsey goes at the 2 spot. So I'm guessing we're going to see Dalvin Cook here at the 3.
Yeah, let me. I am sharing. If you guys are on the YouTube stream, we'll share the draft board and Twitter. But if you're on the YouTube stream, we do have the draft board up. I just had to hit refresh on that bad boy. So you can see where Theo is giving all of the updates there.
Yeah, Kamara goes
Theo, you and I strategized a little bit,
same.
and I think you said it at the top. It was interesting because it's like, we're getting these late picks. It's like, all right, usual suspects. We're just gonna have a bunch of builds that maybe look the same, but we'll see. Maybe there's some surprises in our future. But I'm looking forward to maybe debating some of the same players and similar builds with you here tonight.
So I love the back half in FFPC for the second round. I do think that you run into occasional trouble in the third round. You have that like quick run at the beginning of the third to the mid third, where sometimes a lot of our targets dry up. But here in the first and second, we're going to get two studs, no matter who Abib drafts. So Zeke Elliott goes, Derrick Henry goes. I'd imagine we see an Austin Eckler go. Potentially, I would have Abib drafting Saquon if he's there at 9. I know he's drafted him a number of times.
And one of the friends of the show who will be coming on, Josh McAtee, in the 4 spot, he did go Alvin Kamara out of the 4.
Yeah, I like Kamara. There's a little hesitancy with him as a potential landmine with Taysom Hill. Okay, so Tyreek goes. That's one of our guys.
Tyreek was absolutely
Eckler
on my radar. You know that. I can't be drafting enough Tyreek Hill teams. I know we're about to be on the clock, so just really quickly.
We're about to have an opportunity to draft a player that we've wanted that we haven't had exposure to. Abib, I don't see him taking Darren Waller. I think if Darren Waller's here for us at the 10, I know that we don't have a share of Waller together.
Yeah,
so Saquon.
Hey, Theo, he took Barkley. I think that you had a great read on him. That he was going to go running back, and specifically Barkley if he fell. You just mentioned it. Darren Waller's on the clock. I mean, is this going to be the easiest pick? Do we just smash him because we want the exposure? Want to change it up?
I mean, Waller's going as high as the number 4. There's a couple guys who we really like we could take, but we've already have exposure to. I say get our first share of Darren Waller here at the 10.
Yeah.
And I think it really helps our build to get that foundational tight end.
Yep. And what I like about it too is we're not allowing Guilds to go too off the wall unless he wants to really go crazy here. So again, we'll see if he lives up to the promise. So I just smashed Darren Waller at the 110.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain running back that we both love that we could have taken there at the 10.
Yeah.
And Tyreek versus Waller or Eckler versus Waller would have been a real pulling our hair out type decision because we both love Tyreek and Eckler and we have exposure to both.
Yep.
Interested to see what 11 and 12 do here. A couple of the drafts I've done recently, Kittle has started to creep up. When Waller goes, it triggers people to want to take Kittle. So I'll be interested to see if either of these teams goes Kittle, or a potential unique start for us with a 2 tight end start, which would be an interesting discussion to have. If not, I mean, we have a number of guys we like coming up if Kittle does go.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on the 2 tight end builds? I know you've seen them on. Taylor goes.
I'm willing to do it. We're going to do a couple of these. It's not going to be like a total 120 team portfolio. But I absolutely don't mind having the exposure to the double tight ends. I don't mind getting a little bit, call it unique, a little bit crazy. I think that you've got to mix it up a little bit when you're in the back half of the draft. I don't think that if this was a silver bullet, right, Theo, if this was our one and only shot, that'd be something we want to do. But we've already got a couple of wagons, in the books. I think that it's definitely on the table.
Yeah, I always regret it for a little bit when it happens. I'm in another.
You recently did one, right?
I'm in a slow draft now where I started out with I have a 2nd round Kittle and a 3rd round Pitts, and it's just very hard to recover, but it does put you in a unique situation. Okay, so Diggs goes. So we're I'm interested to see who goes in these next 2. I wonder if they're listening in. After Guilds goes, I'm gonna tell you the guy I'm thinking of that would be also in consideration here, in case he's listening in. But Diggs is a nice pick for him there. We both like Diggs, and I think you took Diggs in your main event at the 12-13. Okay, so he takes Gibson. Gibson was the one that I would have automatically taken at the early 2nd round pick. I know you're really into Gibson as well.
Yep, absolutely. I've got two in the queue. I think I like one way more than the others, and interestingly enough, it's the only one left. But want to know your thoughts here. I think the other guy that we could add, and I just put him in there, is potentially a running back. But wanted to get your thoughts, Theo.
You can go ahead and say it right now because for whatever reason my draft room is loading slowly. I had the board.
Okay. Yep. So I've got DeAndre Hopkins and Nick Chubb in the queue.
So I like both of them. We have 35 seconds here. I prefer Nick Chubb a little bit more in the back half of the second round. I'm okay with the D Hops, or I'm okay with going aggressive and going Kittle. So I would be between a 2 tight end build or a D Hops and Waller. I'm okay with either. I'll also throw out Calvin Ridley with 18 seconds to go.
Yeah, let's do this. I think I'm into D Hops here.
Okay, so let's grab a D Hops. Yep.
Okay.
And
I don't know. Diversification is critical, but I think that we've got some diversification going on from our previous builds.
Yeah, and I will say that I have Ridley slightly ahead of Hopkins, but it's like they're like neck and neck.
Yep.
I think that Ridley is going to see a higher number of total targets. I think that DeAndre Hopkins could still absolutely smash. It's year 2 with him in Arizona. It's year 2 with him and Kyler together. And also we had no preseason last year. So Kyler, I think, could take massive steps forward in his third season. So I'm kind of really bullish on this Arizona offense. I know we have a lot of Rondell Moore, and I think he actually helps D Hops. I think D Hops is going to, AJ Green, helps that receiving core as well, just stylistically. So we both like Hopkins. I'm happy to get him. I'd expect Ridley to go soon. I'm pretty sure Abib's going to go running back. Okay, so Abib goes Najee.
He did. And so, hey, Theo, we do have one question from the chat, or maybe call it comment. So Casey McCoy again mentions that he took Eckler over Barkley in the 10 spot. I don't think that's crazy. And I think that, again, to give a plug to a show that you and JD and Dan had earlier this week, and I definitely go check it out with like Nelson Sousa, right? I think that, he was kind of, subtly and then not subtly, but then going back and forth if you were reading the proper context clues. I think he was basically pounding the table for Eckler this year. So I think that,
he's big on Eckler, and he's big on Eckler, and a few other very sharp people we know are big on Eckler. I think Eckler just has 100 catch potential this season, and I think that it's a very good offensive line. The running backs behind him are nothing scary. And the fact that they lose Hunter Henry might clear up a few more targets for him. And I just think that you're also buying into Herbert being not necessarily much better points per game wise, but more efficient. So I think Eckler right now is a very safe and very popular pick in the first round of these drafts. Saquon, we all love, and a picture goes on the internet today of Saquon where he looks like his usual self, look like a beast. But I mean, there's still injury concerns for some people, and people will be risk averse this early in the year, I think. Okay, so Eckler Chubb is a nice combination for Team 7. We actually have that same combination, I believe, Shelley.
Eckler Gibson.
Eckler Gibson. I have an Eckler Chubb. Sorry about that. I have an Eckler Chubb. So these are all kind of blending together right now. So Zeke Elliott, Devontae combo. Okay. I'll be able to see what Josh does here at the 4 spot coming up. No real surprises. What do you think of Devontae Adams these days, right in the middle of the second, ahead of Calvin Ridley with the Rodgers concerns?
Yeah, it's the right spot for him. I still think, he's got the upside. Someone's going to catch passes. It's not like he's going to drop off the complete face of the earth. I like Devontae Adams. I think this is about where he should be going. I think for those, couple weeks where his ADP slipped into that, top of the 3rd round, I think those teams are going to be interesting, the ones who are able to get him there. But I absolutely think this is the right spot for Devontae Adams. I think he's got probably 1 to 2 years, good seasons left. And I am, from a micro level, just thinking about him, the player, I'm not so concerned with any Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to overreact or, one way or the other on his ADP.
So Josh takes George Kittle. Kittle Kamara is a nice start for him. And again, Kittle Waller would have been a very interesting start for us. But it would have put us, playing catch up not only at running back but also at wide receiver. That's the problem with going tight end.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, if Kittle has just a smash season and Waller has a completely smash season, then the build might make some sense. But even in tight end premium, it's really tough playing catch up at two positions. Okay, so we see a potential stack team, Kelsey and CEH. I wonder if they go Pat Mahomes in third round a little early, and more cowbell gets Calvin Ridley. Really nice value there at the last pick in the second round.
Yeah, and that one hole is an experienced player too, and I think that we actually talked a little bit about this, and maybe we play this out a little bit here as it does come back to us, is getting those unique builds from the one spot. I definitely have seen like Dominic Rohde on Twitter talking about this as well, is just like, think about how many teams that we're going to see that are going Christian McCaffrey, DK, and like Justin Jefferson. That's going to be like a huge percent in the tournament. So I think having the opportunity to have Calvin Ridley come back to you and then you go ahead and smash it, I think you're going to just like inherently create some of that uniqueness in your roster that could, when the championships rounds come around, help you ship the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, one is a big advantage, and two for that matter, because the value of player here at the beginning of the third is just so strong for the next few picks. Okay, so Swift goes. I'm going to start loading up some guys.
Yeah, one thing that we're talking about, Theo, as you're doing that is, and we can play it out, right? We know we have a pick coming up, so we can do some picks and we can talk about unique builds. But I mentioned to you earlier today the teams who should really be taking Tyreek Hill, who was a target of ours. I think that the 3 and 4 holes should really start to take Tyreek Hill. So maybe let the CMCs and the Cooks go 1-2, right? You don't want to get too crazy with this. But I think that if you're trying to generate and purposely get unique builds, I think that you could go from the 3 hole, like Tyreek Hill, and start to build some interesting, maybe like, triple wide receiver starts and be really unique to start this draft. And, as somebody who doesn't mind so much the 0 RB style, I think that's a great way to get unique here in this large format tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Tyreek, he's going to go in like that 6 through 11 range a lot. Yeah, I know you got him at 12 in the main event, which was fantastic value. But yeah, like you said, I mean, if you really want to get wild, take him a little bit earlier, and you really extract value from him when you get him earlier or later. I just think he's really the consensus wide receiver 1 right now, and his ceiling is just so high for this year. So yeah, I'm all about getting as much Tyreek Hill as possible. Okay, so Keenan Allen goes. We're 3 picks away here, and I have 4 people in the queue. I know that 3 out of the 4 you're going to like.
Yeah, I did. I added the 4th just as a question to you.
Okay.
And we're up here. Look, any of the 3 left, I'm willing to just smash over and over and over again. So I would tell you in a vacuum, I like the top player that you loaded.
So I will say this: I think the top player that we have loaded up could potentially expose us to something we both might be into. We don't have number 2 yet. We do have number 2. Oh, excuse me, we do have 1 share. Okay, I would not, and we also have number 1 right now. So I'll just say this: the running back that we would consider is J.K. Dobbins here. I would go ahead and say that I would prefer, since we already went tight end, wide receiver, that we keep pushing it. And I say we go with Lamb, and we get another Lamb share.
Let's do it. Okay, I like that. Lamb. 9 seconds. We grab CD Lamb here at the 310. I love that pick. The other players that we had loaded were Allen Robinson and J.K. Dobbins, who I don't expect to come back. But if the Guilds lets us have them, we're going to smash them. So
yeah, I mean, Dobbins at 403 would be a no-brainer. Yeah, and I've taken Dobbins in the 3rd a lot. It's tough to pass on Dobbins with his talent. I just think we both have concerns about receiving upside, but I want to have exposure to Dobbins and DeAndre Swift in the 3rd. I think they're the 2 potential running backs that could really, swing teams this year. Interested to see what Gills does here. He's got a very
Yeah,
balanced
so
start.
Dobbins did go next. So Team 11 did start 3 running backs: Jonathan Taylor's, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins. They're going for the sophomore breakout running backs there.
He's got the dynasty-looking team. Very nice, though. I think potential.
Yeah. So we are on the clock soon, but I do want to continue the conversation on like the Tyreek Hill, because I think that you made a great point. I liked it, and it kind of loosens up, mixes up the drafts. When you grab players slightly ahead of ADP, right? Like, and I say slightly because again, we had our exciting draft. Better freshman year. We had our exciting draft where Mahomes went at the 109. I think that's way too ahead of ADP. But when you take Tyreek Hill at like the 103 or 102, and you mix up ADP a little bit, I think that you brought up a great point about how sometimes that loosens up the draft thinking, and sometimes the value swing back to you. I know we're up here in a second, but I don't know if you want to expand on that point, because I really liked what you mentioned. It's like something that, like, I didn't necessarily articulate.
I think we can talk about it a little more after we pick. Let's so I'm going to throw 1 or 2 more guys into the queue here. This is actually I like our options here a lot. I'm going to throw one more guy to consider. Okay. Let's see who they take here. They've gone 3 running backs. Do they take Miles Sanders or David Montgomery here and really push it?
Gosh, I hope so. Sounds fun.
I think they might. I think that's what the holdup is.
Yeah, sounds super high upside. That was sarcasm.
Well, I know you wouldn't mind going, 6-7 wide receivers to start after the Darren Waller start, and neither would I. So
yeah.
Okay, so
and they did it. They went
it.
David Montgomery.
Okay, so for me, the only running back to consider here would be Miles Sanders, which is not the worst guy to start our team with. I know we're very much into the 3 wide receivers we have listed. We have Amari Cooper, who we have a little bit of, Robert Woods, who we don't have a share of yet together. I have some Woods. I actually took him in my current draft, and then DJ Moore, who you're a huge fan of, and I am as well. For me, it's Cooper or Sanders, with the idea that we might get a potential stack in the 5th round. I don't mind having both Cowboys wide receivers. For me, it's Sanders or Cooper. I'll defer to you with 15 seconds.
I kind of allow, because I'm willing to risk on the table.
Let's take Amari Cooper.
Let's do it. All right, I like it.
Okay, so now we have a potential stack, and even if we don't complete the stack, we have great exposure to what we think will be a very, very good offense. And 2 wide receivers.
And I like the comment. I like the comment from the chat. Liz Ballard asks if Team 11 is Jeff Z. You know what? Let's satisfy the chat and let's go to the ownership. I didn't think so. I thought that would have caught my eye, but no. 2 experienced players, and their team name is Uno. And based on my grade school Spanish, maybe one could surmise that this is perhaps their first football guys of the year. But who knows? But definitely not Jeff Z. Liz. But thanks for joining the chat. Please keep the questions coming for sure.
So here we have Abib. So Abib got 2 guys he loves in Saquon and Michael Thomas. And then he gets Chris Carson. So it's a very Abib-like start. He loves getting those running backs early. And he gets 3, potential very strong running back core with Chris Carson there as his RB3. Mandrews goes off the board. Now we're going to see what Dave Hubbard takes. So Dave Hubbard takes Robert Woods, a guy we considered. So Dave has a very balanced team right there.
Yeah, the chat loves what Abib did with Carson. And Grant, I can't tell the timestamp because I don't know when he picked, but Grant called the Carson shot. So let's go ahead and give him credit there.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely remember, Theo. Remember in our Triflex when we were doing that startup draft in the RotoViz Dynasty Triflex on the FFPC. Great place to play. Remember when Abib? No, it wasn't Abib. It was Bip. I was just gonna be like, oh yeah, it was somebody turned the screws on us when we were trying to draft Najee Harris, but it wasn't a Beeb. It was Bip.
Yeah, no, it was Bip. Bip wanted a little more. So we have Najee Harris on our Triflex team, and we made a trade to get him. This was before the NFL draft, and we had to pay Bip a little more than we wanted to. But he was an easy guy to work with.
Yeah,
but we overpaid, but then the Pittsburgh landing spot made up for it. So I like what Josh has built here with Alvin Kamara, Kittle, Brown, and DJ Moore.
Yeah, I think it was it Lance Theo that said spot the guy who drafted Robert Woods, and you spotted the sharp in the room.
I believe Lance did say that.
It was Lance, yeah. I like that. I mean, just my personal version of that is the DJ Moore. Spot the DJ Moore drafter and you'll find the sharp in a room. Now, of course, that is self-serving, Theo, because normally I'm drafting DJ Moore. So normally I'm just trying to call myself a sharp in those circumstances. But I absolutely love anytime DJ Moore slips past, especially in the back half of the fourth round. I think he's a smash play there.
Yeah, I mean, we both love DJ Moore, and I think that he's got potential to suck up some of those targets that Curtis Samuel took with him. And he's just a talented player who's produced, but has not. It was a little disappointing last year, and I think that's the reason you're able to get him in this range. So Travis Etienne goes a running back we would have considered here in the fifth. Julio, Cooper Kupp. I'm going to load up a few more guys. So coming back around, we have some interesting decisions to make. I know for us, we like to keep pushing it. We're already kind of open to a potential zero build, which we're always open to doing when it presents itself. It's a high risk, high reward strategy. There's a few running backs I'll consider here. How about you?
Agreed. I put a couple into the queue. I'll tell you one we weren't considering, but it's like really early for him. And I did just pull up ADP. So let me just do it. If you're looking at live, you can see that Michael Carter just went at the 503.
Yeah, I don't like that pick.
And hey, look, it's a GYFG, get your effing guys situation, but that's a full round earlier than his min on the last 5 days of Football Guys ADP. His previous min was 6'2", and this was 5'3".
No, I mean, I like getting him a lot in the 7th. At the 6-7 turn, I can see it. I think me and you have him in, I believe, is that an 8th round, or do we have him in the 7th? One of the two?
Yeah, I can't remember.
So we have him. I just think that you're asking a lot to take him that early. But hey, you never know. He's gonna catch a number of passes. I think he'd get up to like running back 20, but it's no sure thing. Okay, so Higgins and Evans go, two guys from our queue, both great values here. I'm gonna load up a couple more guys.
Yeah, and I definitely gonna be the first thing I yell at Josh when he gets on. But I have made those threats that if I see T. Higgins sitting in there in the 5th round, I'm drafting him every time. I don't care what my structural build is. I don't care what's going on. I am absolutely grabbing T. Higgins. The other one that's interesting, and Johnny Guerrero just added to the chat, so I'm absolutely just putting it up on the screen. That is unbelievable value on Mike Evans, who went after T. Higgins at the 505. So let's look at and Theo, you manage it real quick, but Mike Evans ADP is 4.7 with his max of 6.1, so it's not even the latest Mike Evans has gone.
Okay, so for us right here, I'm gonna rule out number 2 because of I just think there's too many question marks week 1. I'll say that number 3 and number 5 are both potential for our builds.
I like those in the 6th round. I think we can get them.
I think you'll get one of those coming back around. So I'm down to Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
Or Brandon Ayuk. Kareem Hunt is not the worst guy. Which way are you leaning here? And I'll also throw out one more guy, which I just loaded in there.
Is that number 6?
Number 7 or number 6.
Oh, I don't see a number 6.
I'm of the
I'd
opinion.
almost prefer Ayuk to keep the train going, but I don't mind Hunt. So you make the call here. I like both those
I
guys.
say we take Hunt and at least get a
Okay.
little bit of running back that we like. He's a running back too, but for this build, it's not the worst player to have as our RB1.
Yeah.
It's certainly more of a floor play. Having another high end wide receiver would have been great, but I think Kareem Hunt at least gives us a little bit of a foundation there.
And
I
I'll
know
go.
the guild. It
Oh, go
also
ahead.
prevents the guilds from getting him, and I think he would have
Yeah,
considered him.
I was just gonna say because he's another one who I talk about the slow main with. I think that he absolutely would have punished us if we had passed on Hunt. I think he absolutely would have taken him there at the turn.
So Ayuk goes. That's a nice pick right there. One guy we just considered.
Yeah.
So coming around at the 603, I think we're
I
going to
mean, I like
definitely
2 or
get
3.
someone. Yeah.
I like 2 or 3, and I'm not even looking back on either of them.
I will say that taking number 5, I don't mind doing. It makes this team have a hell of a lot of firepower potentially with number 5. It just goes anyway. So the guild takes Odell. That's the person I was suggesting to you, and he takes
Yeah.
Javonte, who was in our queue. So I think for us here, we're going to end up getting a quarterback. We have potential to do a Dak, CD, Amari, Cowboys stack. And we also have potential for a Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins correlation play.
Yep, and I like either.
Yeah, I like either.
I will tell you, I have a ton of Dak. Don't have a lot of Kyler, but we also have 2 Cowboys here. So
we do.
So,
we've sort of gone all in on the Cowboys. I have some Kyler over the two formats, FFPC and NFFC. I love Kyler. Dak is just, well, anyway, he goes Kyler, so that makes it quite easy.
Yeah,
so
I think that Dak is the easy play here. Should we just lock this in?
I'll say the only other player I would consider here would be an interesting start. Goddard is rising up. Goddard goes in the 5th a lot. To get Goddard in the 6th and have a Goddard Waller team might be an interesting build. But I think that we both want Dak. We'll both be happier about our build taking Dak. But I would expect that Goddard would go to – he won't last past Dave Hubbard would be my prediction. So let's go ahead and take Dak and be happy about our stack.
Yep.
Okay,
and
done.
we'll have a delightful text or a Twitter DM exchange where we just scream Dak stack attack at each other.
It's a Dak stack attack. That's all it is.
When Dak is going off. So, and honestly, I love the pick. I especially being on the ends of drafts, especially the 10 through 12 as opposed to the 1 through 3. I love pressing the runs. And look, I don't think the quarterback run is going to continue given what's on the board, but we just did Kyler, Dak, and Lamar back to back. So I'm happy about getting Dak Prescott there.
I mean, this seems to happen a lot in the FFPC these days where not necessarily back to back, but as soon as Josh Allen goes, as soon as somebody picks the next quarterback, it's sometimes Lamar, sometimes Dak, sometimes Kyler. All 3 kind of go near one another. And then it's a little bit of a drop off to get to the, the Russ Wilsons and the Herberts, the Tom Brady's and the rest of the guys. So I think that there's some value getting one of these, potential quarterback ones in the 6th round. I know we're both very high on Dak. I know that Andrew and Abib both love Lamar. I love Lamar as well, so that's a great pick. Abib has a really impressive build right now with Thomas, Carson, Najee, Saquon, Deontay Johnson, and Lamar. Guilds has Diggs, Allen Robinson, Jamar Chase, Odell Beckham, Antonio Gibson, and Javonte Williams. If Javonte can offer him something early in the season, I think he's got a really, really nice build. I'm interested to see what Dave Hubbard does here with Goddard on the board. Which way do you think he goes? All right, so Galladay goes. Okay, so we're back.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, okay, interesting. Dave goes with Judy. So this
And
is some decent.
Judy's climbing up the boards too. If we did like an ADP review, I think that he is on the move.
I think that in the fantasy football analysts, I think some are still debating the Judy Sutton, but when it
Yeah.
comes to the high stakes players, the high stakes players are betting on Jerry Judy to take over the number one wide receiver role. I think that his skills match up better with Teddy Bridgewater than Cortland Sutton's do, and Sutton also coming off of an injured season puts a little bit of fear into some players. You still have the Cortland Sutton truthers, and I don't hate Cortland Sutton, but I think Judy's just a little bit of a safer bet right now. What do you think?
No, I'll be honest, Theo. I just like Cortland Sutton's talent. And I think we talked about it a couple shows ago. Judy's got all those, air yards. He had the most, throws that, fell incomplete. And just like anecdotally, I would have said maybe Hollywood's like, second to that, but obviously would be proven wrong. Having said that, Sutton was out all year last year. I think that he's got that like alpha build to him that I love to see, and I would be betting on talent. I just don't think there should be a huge disparity between them. I think that you put out a good tweet today. It was about running backs, right? But I think that you can probably play the same game with Judy and Sutton. Is make a bet on one of them. Go with your gut. But this is absolutely the spot to be taking them. I love seeing them here in this 6th round, 7th round range. I think that like when we did one of our first ones, even this is only like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Theo, I think we got Judy in like the 9th round.
We did
easily be fact checked. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say easily be fact checked on that. But I think that this is the absolute right trend for him to be up here.
Yeah. I mean, Judy's going to stick around here. I think he's going to stay in the 6th. People were disappointed by his rookie year, but he certainly produced, in a historical sense for a rookie wide receiver. I think that guys that produced like him in his rookie year usually take a step forward, especially when they have his draft capital. So, yeah, I think Judy's a safe bet. I don't know if he has the potential to get into the wide receiver 1 discussion, but I think he's a guy that you can bet on to challenge for wide receiver 2. Okay, so Goddard goes. So there's an interesting build there, one that we slightly considered. So team 2 gets a Kelsey Goddard. I probably would have gone wide receiver there with them only having Julio, but it's still very good value for Goddard.
I mean, this is one of those things where like team 2 may absolutely smash us to bits when we play them, but just like that is just not a structural build that I'm interested in doing, where I only after, let's just call it, okay, 7 rounds now. They've got 2 wide receivers, Julio and Sutton, who I was just talking about.
So
that's just like not something that you're going to see.
I mean, he was a little bit like he took Swift slightly, maybe like 2 or 3 spots ahead of where he goes.
Yeah,
he gets ETN a little bit earlier, but he still takes 2 bets on 2 running backs who could catch a lot of passes. I don't dislike it. I will say that I've seen Noah Fant go in the 7th round twice this week. So I think it's kind of the correction is Goddard goes ahead of Fant now after the potential Ertz move. I think Fant is just such value in that 7th round. For me, I've taken him often in the 6th round. I love Noah Fant this year, and he's kind of like the end of a tier for me. I have him ahead of the Higbees and Thomases. I just think Fant is athletic. He's got the draft capital. He's flashed when he's on the field. I think Fant's just great value right now. What about you?
No, agreed. And Aaron Rodgers goes there, and we start to see him in the 4th, 5th round. I mean, you could almost convince me that like people would start taking him over Mark Andrews. Now, having said that, this is like not necessarily the tier of tight ends that I want to be playing with like a ton. I really do subscribe to those series of let's be super early or let's be really late. I do think that there's exposure to get burned here. Having said that, I think that you should mix up exposures. So I don't mind getting Fant, and I think especially getting him in the 6th, 7th round. I think you may have about a round or 2 of ADP, room to run if any landscape changes. So I like that here.
Yeah. So Edmonds goes. That's one player we would have considered here. Juju goes, who we had in the queue as well. So
I have one loaded, and maybe he gets back to us. I like number 1, and I'm gonna tell you a secret. He's not coming back to us if we let him go.
The Guilds is going to take him if he's there.
Absolutely, I was just going to say,
so
Guilds going to be pissed that we're even talking about it. But
Guilds is
that's somebody who's not coming back to us if we let him slip by.
Yeah, I prefer number 2. And number 3, we have exposure to. I know you're a big fan of his. Okay, so there goes Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson,
I would have taken ahead. So I'm okay with your suggestion. I think,
and I had just told the guilds. I don't have a lot of exposure to him in these tournaments. So would be a great conversation piece to go ahead and smash him. But want your thoughts?
Well, I will say that I think we should put some consideration into Damian Harris here, because if we don't take Damian Harris, I don't think there's a running back for us for the next 2 rounds. And I'm not a huge Harris guy, but it does give us a floor for week 1. I'm okay taking Smith though. Team 11 next to us has four running backs already, and the Guilds took Javonte Williams. So I say we take Devonta Smith, the player you want to take.
Yeah.
It gives us exposure, and I'm into it. Let's take Devonta Smith. He's a flex for us and potential for more. Okay, done. We took Devonta.
So we took Devonta Smith there.
Okay, so it'll be interesting to see if these two do not take Damian Harris. I think he's our pick.
I think that Guild absolutely takes Damian Harris here.
I think he probably takes Damian Harris, but I don't think he necessarily does after Javonte. I'm not sure which way he's going to go. So
and by the way, Josh was supposed to be joining us in the 6th round. So let me make sure that he's still alive. Based on his draft, he's doing great. He's got just on a wide receiver run, which I absolutely love to see. Things that Andrew loves to see, his wide receiver room.
So I like who you have queued up here. I think that's a nice pick if we don't get what we want here.
Yep.
I don't want to force the issue at running back. I think the biggest mistake people make is when you start building. I mean, we have a near 0 RB build. Kareem Hunt makes it not a 0 RB build, but I think that the mistake people make when they start is they start adding all these 7th, 8th, 9th round running backs. I think that you have to be very selective with it. Okay, so the Guilds takes Herbert.
Yeah, you can't bail too early on the strategy. That's what you're trying to say. If you're gonna commit to the bit, commit to the bit, and do it right.
It's a great way of putting it. I'll throw one more guy out there. So listen, I'm not in love with Damian Harris, but I think if he's there, I think he has running back 2 potential. I think he'll start the season as a starting running back for New England. I'm not thrilled about it, but I do think if we don't take him, I think that there's not a whole lot of running backs I would like. And potentially we'd miss on running back in the 9th round as well. So structurally, I think Damian Harris makes the most sense here. Although it's a player neither one of us would be super duper excited about.
No, I think we ended the last show with me pressing on Muzio just a little bit on the Damian Harris love.
Okay, so we had Deebo Samuel as the other person we would have considered with Harris.
Yeah.
So
I just think we take Harris and feel good about our starting lineup for week 1.
I'm going to throw one player out in the queue that just to take a look at. Do we force the issue with the stack that we're all in on? Because he's not going to come back around to us in the 9th round.
Let me hit a refresh here because of course it's not coming up.
Sure. I don't. Okay. Basically it would be do we take Michael Gallup here to ensure that we have coverage for CD and Amari since we're all in on Dak?
Yeah.
Or do we do
And his
this?
ADP is 9.5. I think you're right. In this room, we're not going to get him back. But I like the idea of getting Damian Harris and feeling good about week 1.
So
And then we can play the waiver wire. And again, it opens us up to maybe even more, call it wide receivers and tight ends or whatever.
Okay, so I took Damian Harris as the clock was winding down. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's there's a few other wide receivers I would have liked here, but Harris is I mean, it's still a little bit of a there's some risk there, and I think as long as Cam Newton is the quarterback, Harris's value is not gonna be where it needs to be because he's not going to potentially get the looks around the goal line. We saw Cam last year. I believe he had, what was it, like 8 rushing touchdowns, something along those lines. So if it becomes Mac Jones, then Damian Harris could be absolutely great value where we got him. But I think this is more of a structural pick than a pick that we're happy about. But at the end of the day, I'm pleased with our wide receivers. We have a Waller build, and I think between Hunt and Harris, we're not going to get horrific running back play. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, agreed. And I'm looking at the room because I was going to say, like, it feels I'm not necessarily looking by round 8 to have a starting lineup. We more or less do. We've got our one quarterback, our tight end. We got 2 running backs. We can fill that, and we know we can fill our flex with our 4 wide receivers. So we got Hopkins, Lamb, Cooper, and Smith. Having said that, there are a lot of people in this draft, and again, live on YouTube, we're showing it, and we'll pop that up on the board, when we tweet out on the show link. But we got Team 1, who's got 4 wide receivers on the board. Josh, who let's actually bring him in now as we're talking about him. Josh, welcome to the show. We're just talking about the wide receivers on the board. You've got 5 already: AJ Brown, DJ Moore, Higgins, Claypool, Chenault, and you're about to be up, so I'm not going to bother you yet, but we'll get into your stuff after you pick. And then
give us a sneak preview here, Josh. Who are you considering? Who are you considering here? 2 away.
Right now, I'm still sticking with receivers. That's the plan at this point in time. I'm trying to unload through this point. So it's just a matter of which ones are left based on what I like.
Yeah, we really like your build.
You posted, I think last time we did this, a really inappropriate picture of me that was never meant for distribution, of me diving into the wide receiver cocaine. So one that was not very nice, and that was meant for your personal use only. But looks like you're going with the wide receiver cocaine here.
I'm right there with you, Shelly. So yeah. I'm jumping. I jump right in.
I like it.
No, we love your build. I love where you got Kittle. I love where you got AJ Brown, DJ Moore. We're both huge fans of T. Higgins. Claypool. If Claypool hits like he could, your team is really, really dangerous. And then you kind of back it up with some LaVisca. So I love that build. And then Fuller as well. So you've really built a team that has a lot of firepower. What was your thoughts about getting Kittle where you got him?
I was hoping that you guys were not going to go 2 tight end build. And then
we thought about it. We were considering that. I haven't seen a whole lot of Waller Kittle builds this year. But yeah, I mean, I think where you got him, it's just great value.
I did one Waller Kittle build
nice.
about 3 weeks ago, right around the 9 or 10 hole. So
that's nice. Yeah, that could really pay off. I mean, if Kittle has one of these years where he's like 40, 45 points ahead of tight end 4, which is totally in the range of outcomes, then you could potentially really smash with a Waller Kittle start. I don't know about you. When I go tight end, I always feel like I'm trying to play catch up on 2 positions.
I agree. I mean, you're automatically putting one in the flex. And that particular build, I took Miles Sanders in the 4th, and then I went receiver the rest of the way because you're trying to smash in the flex, you're trying to smash at tight end and get one running back, right? It's going to exceed expectations. And in the 4th, Miles Sanders is one of the few that has the potential. So
what we're looking at here coming up, Josh, you're 3 picks away. You've gone wide receiver now for 6 straight picks, and you have 1 running back and your tight end. Give us a sneak preview. Who's in the queue at the top? I doubt 2 and 3 are listening right now.
Well, I want to talk about 3 in a second, and 3 is in the Guilds in, because I think
we get a little
nobody
Darnell
is
Mooney.
funnier
Darnell Mooney
when they are
got
mad
early.
at a pick than Guilds. So I want to talk about 3's 8th round pick, and that's exactly how I'm going to bring him in once Josh gets queued up here.
I'm leaning running back, diving back in.
Don't stop now.
Um,
I'm not sure you have enough wide receivers, though, Josh. I think you might have to pull the trigger again.
Well, as they say, if you're going to go with a wide receiver build, you just have to draft more wide receivers because one's going to bust, one's going to get injured, and you're going to need enough to survive through that challenge. So.
Yeah. All right, so Josh, you're about to make your pick, but I'm going to add Guilds to the stream. Guilds, what's going on? Glad you're here. First question, Darnell Mooney 803, or I guess 810, if you will. Give us your rant about Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I don't know if this guy follows me on Twitter, but yeah, I mean, I like Darnell. I don't like him that high, but
no, I think that's truly 2 rounds off his min.
Yeah.
It's very, very aggressive. Let's put it like that. To be nice.
The number 3 here is the wild card of this room for sure. Just looking.
Yeah.
So we loved your Diggs. We loved your Diggs Gibson start. Were there any other guys you were strongly considering at the turn right there, or was it when those 2 guys were available that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah. So I was playing around earlier on Fantasy Mojo, just trying to look for some unique stacks, and I was surprised to see Diggs and DK. There's not one pairing in the whole tourney.
Wow.
So I was definitely considering that pair right there, but then Antonio fell. I need more Antonio shares. I just could not pass on it. And I was surprised also. There's not much Diggs Antonio combos in the tournament. I was surprised by that. But
it's really hard to pass up Antonio anywhere in the second round. Antonio right now just seems like you're getting the nuts. That's a great pick right there. I mean, we have a lot of Antonio. We consider him at the 10 spot as well. And then you get your Allen Robinson. I know you're a huge fan of drafting Bears this season.
Yeah, I'm high on the Bears, and the Chase pick. I intentionally kind of reached there some just because I know he goes kind of end of 4th, top of 5th even. So I felt like he's not paired too much with the Diggs and Gibson in the early 2nd kind of combos there. And, I'm playing for those champ round spike weeks, and he's got a nice champ round schedule. So if he blows up for me in those postseason weeks, that's what I'm looking for.
And we're almost up here. I know, Guilds, you are too, but just to throw it out there, I don't know if you guys were listening earlier. One concept that we talked about is shaking up the ADP. So, Guilds, you just talked about it, right? Not a whole lot of Diggs and Metcalf. One way to force that issue is if you're in the 12 spot, you can go after that. Okay, fine. But another way to do that is maybe to go after that in like the 3 or 4 hole. How crazy are you, Josh and Guilds, willing to get with some ADP plays in order to get those spike weeks and kind of shake up the ADP?
So we're on the clock here.
Oh, yeah, I guess we're on the clock.
So Abib gets Hollywood Brown and Lamar Jackson correlation play. That's a great pick by Abib for his build. And I know he knows we would have considered Hollywood here.
There's one wide receiver that I want, and there's a million running backs.
Okay, I'm gonna talk you off it real quick because I think that if we take number 1, I think number 2 will be there. And I know if he goes, I know it's a guy you want to get. So I don't know if number 1 will be there though. And this is pretty late for number 1 right now. This is pretty late for him, and it really feels a need for us.
I just know I'm not getting number 2.
I say we take number 1, unless you want to do it. I'll let you pick this one, Shelly, because you deferred on the Kareem Hunt one.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna get my guy then.
Then get your guy. Okay.
I wanted him and I got him.
Okay. So we've got
I think that there's a lot of running backs here that are all in the same tier. I wanted Elijah Moore. I don't have a lot of Elijah Moore in these tournaments. I don't know. Maybe Gills tells me he would have taken him or not taken him. Maybe he won't reveal, but I just don't think he was coming back.
So which way are we going here, Gilds?
Well, one guy for sure I'm taking here, and I take him here pretty much all draft seasons, James Conner.
That's exactly who I wanted to take. That's who I wanted to take just now with where we went Elijah Moore, but I understand your rationale. And this is late for him. I've seen him go in the 8th. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to point that one out.
No, it's all right. Yeah, and all draft season, if I see him even 8th, 9th, it's just especially if I'm going 1 or 2 backs only up until this point, I feel like as a third back, and I'm just not an Edmonds guy. I've never been. I feel like, we see that helium every summer and it just never pans out. So easy pick there for me. And,
And then which other way are you going here?
So I think I'm going to fill my tight end just because, I was hoping a couple of guys fell me earlier, and there was a little run there at the end of the 6th, I think, into the 7th. I was hoping Higbee might fall to the turn, but yeah, I'm going to go Evan Ingram here.
Future Jaguar.
Just add. I don't have too much Ingram, so I don't mind adding him here. And by the way, you guys, the Devonta Smith, that hurt me on the inside, that pick.
We talked about that. We knew you were going to take him. It was a guy you would like, but we knew you would take him as well.
I was just sitting here. I'm like, Devonta, come.
I actually felt bad because you and I had talked about that, and I told you I don't have any exposure to him, and I was just like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it where it hurts. So I'm going to take him.
It's probably for the best. So thank you.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting.
No, but I like you got the Chargers stack there at the end. The little Herbert Mike Williams.
Yeah,
play.
I was surprised he fell. To be honest, Herbert ended the 7th. I mean, he's going a little bit earlier than that.
Herbert in the late 7th or early 8th is very, very good value. Okay, so Gage went. Shelly, we're on the clock here. I
like 1, 2, or 3.
So yeah, I prefer 2 or 3 to number 1 as well. I would like to go with number 2.
Yes, do it.
We have
like
some 3. So we're going to take Darrell Henderson, which is a high-end handcuff for us, and we both like him. So let's take him right here, lock him up. Okay, Josh, going back to you, I know you've got your running back 2 right now is Tony Pollard. Are you looking to add another running back here, or are you going to kind of let the board decide for you? Quarterback, running back, which way are you kind of leaning?
I'm definitely going to let the board kind of come to me in this situation. I have a few targets in mind between running back and quarterback. So I think it's just going to depend on, Beeb went tight end. So the running back that I think is coming, it may, if it got past him, it may make it down to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beeb has a nice tight end combination of Thomas and Troutman. I like that. I like where he got both. I like Troutman.
Troutman's been coming up the boards a lot.
You get these Troutman people who are just going to push it and take him in the 8th or 9th round. But when you get him in the 10th, it's very solid. Jonnu goes. Okay, so Josh is coming up here. So the mic is yours, Josh. Why don't you talk about your top of your queue right now? Which guy are you hoping gets to you?
Is DJ.
Okay.
With the build that I have, I want a guy who I know is going to get some work early on. That's probably going to be one of the top 3 target guys inside of Houston. Between him and Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb. So for me, in what I'm putting together, I feel like DJ would be the right pick.
Yeah, and I like that. A combination. If you punt RB2 and you go with a guy like Tony Pollard as your RB2, you get the guaranteed week 1 points. You might not know the usage of Pollard. You're hoping he pops. So I like combining kind of a floor play with the obvious ceiling of Pollard.
That's right. You're trying to get through maybe like week 1 and 2, knowing you've got some explosiveness that you need later on in the drafts.
And Theo, you're right. I mean, between Pollard and Henderson, I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm going to take Pollard over Henderson. But I also got the week 1 advantage to decide what I want to do after Thursday night. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens from there.
No, I just like that the structure of it. So your team definitely has some juice. Let's put it like that. Okay, so team 2 goes with Irv Smith. So the team 2 has 3 tight ends. I think the Irv Smith pick there is unnecessary when they've gone Travis Kelce and
Goddard already. Yep.
I don't really love that.
Yeah.
And team 3 is still going the GYFG strategy. Get your effing guys. Gabe Davis there, which actually isn't like. I mean, I guess it's a round off their men. The last 5 days, their ADP is 14-2. Again,
we've gotten Davis in the 12th round. I prefer him in the 12th, 13th round.
Late.
Number 1 is working on a double correlation play right now. They've got the DK Russ and they've got Stafford Cup. That's an interesting build.
I don't like taking Stafford there though. If I'm the one there, you're just
I don't like the doubling up on QB there either. But I understand the rationale if you're really going to push those correlation plays. You could have also gone with Gerald Everett and got a little more exposure for Russ Wilson. There's a number of ways he could have gone there. So yeah, I mean I agree with you, but I understand it. Team 2 gets Canny. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think you're passing on too much value, right? You got Russ. You're playing Russ every week. I mean, I get it. For his bye and maybe matchups if he gets hurt. To me, round 11, after you have Russ, yeah, I think you're losing too much opportunity cost in that spot.
No, I'm with you. If you take a quarterback in the first 6 rounds, why push it with the backup? So team 3 has gone kind of crazy with these with the reaches. He takes Michael Carter in the 5th round. He takes Darnell Mooney in the 8th. He takes Gabe Davis in the 10th and Paris Campbell in the 11th. I like all 4 guys, and I have exposure to all 4 guys, but he could have waited a whole round or more on each of those guys. And Paris Campbell, I don't know about you guys, but I've gotten my exposure to Paris Campbell in like the 15th round. I think getting him in the 11th is very unnecessary.
Yeah, this guy's he hasn't been in many of these drafts, I don't think yet. This might be one of his first couple.
It's very diplomatic, very diplomatic, Andrew. That's a very diplomatic response.
Yeah,
I like these.
Yeah,
I like
but
these guys too. I just don't like it. You don't need to take him this high. That's all.
No, I completely agree. Darrington Evans is shooting up draft boards.
And that was taken by our guy Josh. So
yeah, the RotoViz guys have been talking up Evans a lot. I have a ton of Evans right now in NFFC and FFPC right now. He's a high-end backup, and the market's kind of corrected itself where he's going to get drafted as a high-end backup, in my opinion. So nice. Team 5 goes double QBs. I'm sorry, Josh. That was your pick with Evans. I love that pick, Josh. That was good.
We do have a Beeb waiting in the wings, but let's get through his pick. Let's get through our pick, and then we'll bring him on when we wrap around here in the even round, the 12th round.
Yeah, let's do it. So, Josh, yeah, I like what you've done with the Pollard, Johnson, Evans. Evans is kind of like a discount Pollard for you as well. So you get those 2 high-end cuffs and a guy to get you through week 1. I like that. Okay, so Shelly, it's coming up on us. I think one is on the clock. One's a guy we both like.
Yeah, but can I make a case for number 4?
You can.
I like 1, 2, or 3. And I think that we at least get one of them to come back to us. Unless you think that 1 is such a smash play, I like the idea of getting 4 as some upside exposure in some of the as the season goes on.
Yeah, I mean I think there's a chance he might be there too.
Okay.
I think structurally we take 1, and I think 4 might be there when we come back around.
Okay. All right. Let's go 1.
Let's take 1.
So we took Latavius Murray to shore up some of our running back room there.
Yep. And so we get Henderson and Murray, 2 guys we really like as high-end handcuffs. And I think that if Taysom Hill is the starter, Murray could be sneaky value if they go run heavy. So we'll see how that pans out. Gilds, give us a little preview of who you're looking at here in your queue.
Yeah, well, I was going to take Latavius if you guys. I mean, that was a nice pick here.
Sure. Great job, Theo. Theo, you're reading Gilds like a book.
I did. I wanted Connor. but I'm happy to get Elijah Moore because anytime we get Elijah Moore, Shelley is just, I mean, he's going to go to bed with a huge smile on his face. So that's worth it with the
I would have
Elijah
been
Moore pick.
screaming if Guilds had taken Elijah Moore. So I'm happy that we lost Connor and didn't lose Elijah Moore. So
sorry about you, Guilds. Which way are you going here? Which are two guys in the top of your queue? Shelley, there we go.
That's okay. It is what it is. All right. Let's remove the first instance of the guilds from the stream, and maybe let's add guilds part 2.
Disconnected there. All right, you guys are back.
That's all right.
Yeah, we're back. Which way are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm taking a running back here, but I hate Ronald Jones with a passion. I'm not going there. I'll let him fall to somebody else. I'm going to go Gus.
Nice. Yeah,
Gus was in our queue. Yeah. That's a good pick right there. Shelley, is Abib waiting in the wings?
Yeah,
here?
so let's get through Guild's pick, and then we'll do ours, and then we'll add Abib right as he's doing his.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, you know what? I have a lot of this guy. I think it's my most owned player, but I just got a good feeling about it. I have a few guys every year that I have that spidey sense about, and this guy's one of them.
You are up next.
And you'll see.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
Komet.
I know you're betting on Komet and Mooney a lot, Guilds. I think that's a nice bet. It's a nice way to get those the cheaper parts of the Bears offense for when Fields takes over. And yeah, I like Komet. I mean, he's got a lot of similarities to Troutman in terms of value, and you get him 2 rounds later as a potential breakout tight end. So I like that selection. Okay, Shelley, for us.
Yeah, we're up next, and then we'll bring Abib in just a second. Thanks for hanging with us, Abib. So what do you? I don't like 1. I like 2. I think you and I have been taking a lot of 2 though.
I think 2 is a no-brainer for me.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, because I like his value, and we can talk about it a little bit after we take him. 5, I don't even want to ever see in our queue again. I don't even want to mention the guy's name.
Oh no! Yeah, I did that. Yeah,
I can't. I just can't do it. I have bad feelings towards him. So it's interesting if when you take Waller, you don't really need to get that tight end 2, but there's a tight end 2 we really like.
I'm so happy. So let's talk about it. First of all, let's bring Abib in. Thanks, Abib, for joining us. The champ is here. The champ is here.
Welcome, Abib. Welcome, Abib.
Oh god, I think I'm on the clock almost. Thanks for having me, guys. Nice to see you.
We're on the clock.
Are you
So
on
we're
the
thrilled to have
clock?
you on. I picked Saquon and Michael Thomas and Carson. Your picks. I had you picked on those, Abib, and I know you're a big fan of Lamar Jackson, so that's a great build for you. And I like where you took Hollywood Brown, get the correlation play. So we like your team a lot. It's a strong build. Saquon gets to you anywhere past 7. You seem to be taking him auto pick at this point in the year. Is that the case?
It's been like a roller coaster of emotions when it comes to Saquon. I think I started off extremely hot on him, and I tried to do as much research as I could regarding the injury, and felt comfortable with where we were. And then just time in the off season, you just paralysis by analysis, over analysis, and so you get to a point where you just start to get a little bit concerned. Well, is he really ready? And then he had the recent interview where he didn't want to necessarily give a clear date of return or whether or not he was going to return off the pup. And so I finally just got to a point where I was just like, all right, I need to just settle in and just stop kind of waffling back and forth. And I was just like, look, I'm going to have confidence that he's going to be ready based off of kind of what I have studied. And even if he's slow entering the season or maybe misses a game or 2, I think the additional game really helps us out in that standpoint. And I just love the potential upside of getting a top 3 back towards the back end of the first round. So moving forward, yes, he is a lock button for me.
And Abib, with your last pick here, 1204, you took Devontae Parker. I had messaged Theo yesterday, and I said, "Are we sure Devontae Parker sucks?"
I don't think so.
I know, but it feels like ADP says Fuller, Waddle, you got to go, and here you are. You're taking Devontae Parker. I don't think that we're all sure he sucks. I think he's a great player, and I'm just, the ADP isn't that's not what the ADP shows. So what's your perspective there?
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think it was, I think it was me being, a bit reticent and just very hesitant to draft Waddle and Fuller where they were going. And I love Fuller. I was all over Fuller last year. He's one of my highest owned players. But going into a new system and playing with the new quarterback, in my mind, Devontae Parker, he was a number one or a first round draft pick not too long ago.
Yep.
And even though he was slow to start, I felt like he figured things out, and he battled some injuries last year. But he's that true X receiver in my opinion. And I think the fact that you add in a Waddle, you add in a Fuller, that really prevents defenses from really keying in on him. So I think it almost gets easier for him. Yep. So the narrative that I tell myself with this is, okay, we really don't know what their offense is with Chan Gailey leaving and then bringing in sort of kind of the two incumbents, this sort of kind of co-offensive coordinator. But you can have some percentage of confidence, whether that's 50% or 40%, that the first read in the offense is going to be the X receiver, which I'm kind of labeling as Parker. So I'm telling myself a story where he's probably going to be the first read, and hopefully he sees the majority of the targets going his way. 20 to 25% ideally. So I love the value there. I think it's an easy dart throw that could really pay off, and he's shown that he's been successful. So.
Yeah, I like it.
I think that's a great bet, and I'll take it a step further. I think Gesicki's a little bit beat up right now too. Actually, in an NFFC the other night, I got Parker in like the 11th round, and it's a 3 wide receiver start. So I thought it was just stupid value. So I think Parker, he could rise up a little bit if that Dolphins offense starts getting a little steam. So I think that's really good value where you got him. And then we liked your Adam Troutman pick. Talk to us about Troutman. Is that a guy you're taking, or you just thought he was good value?
Oh man, I don't want to answer that. How many people are watching?
Okay, so we'll leave that. That's the trade secret. Okay, that's fine. And
no, actually, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, shout out to JD in the chat room, complimenting your First and 15 pod, which is really an awesome pod. We're really enjoying it, listening to you guys. So it's congratulations on having a good start with that. But yeah, go ahead back to Troutman if you want to divulge maybe like 30 seconds of Troutman for the listeners.
Yeah, no. I mean, Troutman's not a secret. It's funny because I was, we referenced the group chat, and I was, I think I had like this epiphany like a few weeks ago. I was like, why don't I have enough Troutman? Like, why have I like not really kind of delved into this? And, everyone was like, dude, you were like so late. Like, he's like literally like everyone is on Troutman. So, I did a deep dive in it, and I just love the situation. I love the vacated targets in New Orleans. It's definitely a bit of a gamble type pick, but given where he's going, I mean, I'm not, I don't think you lose much, grabbing him there. And, looking back at his collegiate tape and film, I know he's not at a major conference school, but I mean, he led them in receptions. He was like a red zone beast. So, I tell myself the story, his upside is, potentially Jimmy Graham. If you think about it, I should cut that. let me stop there. But that's, so I'm definitely trying to get more Troutman because I think I'm underweight, more underweight than I want to be right now.
And yeah, we like Troutman. I mean, I think that all the reasons you said, and there's a chance that wide receiver 2 spot is kind of up in the air there. Mm-hmm. Troutman could end up being a very highly targeted guy, especially if it's Jameis. And then Shelly, what were you going to say?
No, in the FFPC Revelations draft in early May, I basically went naked Troutman, sort of by accident, sort of by design. Basically, all the tight ends were going crazy, and I was like, well, I guess I just am rolling week 1 with Adam Troutman as my tight end 1. And as the offseason has progressed, that's maybe I luck boxed my way into it, but that's only looked better and better. Josh, going back to you, you took Trey Lance here in the 13th round. You grabbed Rashad Bateman. I love that in the 12th. How do you like your draft progressing there?
I like the way it's unfolding here. I was hoping to get somewhere between Bateman, Rondale Moore, Rager in that 12th round. Betting that I could come back with Lance or, for me, Fields. I'm the last guy to take a QB. So, I was trying to take on one of these guys that have a high upside if they take over the starting role going into the year or later on in the year. And I'll grab another quarterback somewhere else down the draft or even on waivers.
I love the Lance pick there. Lance is the market's correcting itself on Lance. You used to be able to get Lance like after the 15th round sometimes. It seems like every draft somebody takes Lance in like the 12th or 13th these days, and I think he's well worth it. And I will actually give Abib credit. Abib, when he came on the GOAT District, brought up taking Lance as your QB1, and then you can easily add a veteran to get you through until Lance is ready. So I like where you took him right there. Abib, do you have a guy you're looking at here coming up to you in 2 picks?
I will most likely not draft another quarterback.
Yes, I do. For me, I'm likely probably won't even draft another quarterback, to be honest. Lamar is usually that the type of quarterback where it hurts drafting him in the 6th because you're missing out on a positional pick, but it allows you to not have to draft multiple quarterbacks at that position. And I think so. Okay, good. I'm just going to show
that is such a good reaction to the pick that just happened. Good.
Yeah, I'm just going to shore up my running back room here. We had
Penny queued up as well.
Yeah. The recent Penny news is I think dropped his ADP, but I'm drafting him more as my handcuff. I think
Sorry
when I have
interrupt you, Abib. We're on the clock here.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm okay with number 1.
Yep.
Do you want to just take number 1 here? I think it gives us
I was going to say one or 2. So that works for me. One works.
I'm 1 because we have a lot of 2.
Yeah. Fair. That's probably why I like him. We have a lot of them.
Okay, Guilds is coming up here as well. I can already tell you Guilds is thinking a little bit about taking his guy Justin Fields here, despite the Herbert pick. So I'm gonna put him on a tell. Is that a guy in your queue towards the top of the queue, Guilds?
Yeah, you read me right there, man. Definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
He's going to me here on the turn.
There you go. Okay. So I'm getting pretty good at this, reading boards and predicting your guys' picks, but it's
Listen,
cool.
I could be
Fields
wrong.
is a great pick. It's a great pick here,
I mean, I could be wrong for sure. I just got that feeling about this kid. I could be wrong. I think he's
you've got a great theory about the Andy Dalton leash. I mean, that cannot be very long. And I think that you're on the train of Fields is starting week 1, and Fields has got the rushing upside, and I think the offense has the upside, which is why you're on Komet, you're on the Mooney types. Of course, we lost Guilds. Josh, question for you because you went Lance. Have you been doing any Lance Fields here in the mid rounds?
Yeah. I have multiple teams where I've just gone Lance or Fields as my quarterbacks this early on. So, I'm boots on the ground in Columbus, Ohio. So I prefer Fields, but with Kittle, I went with Lance. So
I like it.
So, Shelly, for us, I think that I'll leave number 2 for Abib because he'll take him. And I think we take number 1, unless you want to take number 2 here.
No, we got a lot. No, this is so the chat just made a comment, and I've somehow screwed up my windows here, so I can't get to it easily. The number 2 currently is not our number 2. The number 2 last time we were around is now our number 1. I think that we're going to get him here, and that's Kenneth Gainwell. We are going to smash Kenneth Gainwell here. I like this pick. There's some upside.
Yeah, let's take him so Abib can take his guy here in the 14th round.
You guys are so nice.
Go ahead, Abib. Go ahead, Abib. We'll give you the gift for coming on the show. You can go ahead. It's fine. I can announce Abib's pick. He's going to take Devon. Did he take him? There you go, Devontae Booker. Okay, so
yeah, you know me so well.
It's good,
you know me so well.
I listen to First and 15. I take notes. Okay, so coming back around to you, Josh. So with the Lance build, I didn't mean to interrupt you before. Are you looking to get another quarterback with Lance, or are you just gonna roll it and go single QB?
Since we haven't hit the preseason, I will go naked Lance, and
Yep.
I will walk into the waiver period and draft or pick up a quarterback.
I like that.
I would rather have a positional player that I can make a decision on come week 1.
I like that. Yeah, and there'll be plenty of guys. Anytime you go naked QB, somebody on Twitter attacks you for it, but it's the optimal strategy when you feel good about a guy.
I hope they laugh at
necessary.
it. Right. So.
Yep.
I have one team that has Fields and Lance only as my QBs, so I might not have a quarterback week 1. I might have to pick up a guy.
Yeah.
I was asking that question as you were coming in and out. I threw it to Josh. It's like, does anybody have any of those Lance Field teams here in the mid rounds, which I think were fairly popular in that Scott Fishbowl contest, but maybe are starting to be slightly trendy here in the football guys as well, depending on when you can get them.
Yeah, there's always Sam Darnold in the revenge game against the Jets week 1, always on every single waiver wire. So keep that in the back of your mind, everyone, if you need a week 1 streamer.
And the QBs are going like so late. I was just in the main. I got Wentz in the 20th round of the main. I'm like, I had Kyler, but at that point I'm like, I got to take this guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen Baker go in the 20th a lot.
He wasn't even
a lot of these guys fall. Yeah.
I just think you can get the guys with the ultimate upside, the high ceiling, you kind of have to shoot for the stars, right? With Fields and Lance, and just hope they hit when it counts.
Josh, who are you looking at coming here at the 4th pick?
It was Gainwell and Booker, but
with Abib and us in the draft, that wasn't going to happen. So,
Booker was absolutely the guy that we were going to take if it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably Gio or Aguilar at this point. So
yeah.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Aguilar? We're seeing this sort of flip with Myers now going ahead of him, and he's kind of skyrocketing up boards. And sometimes you can get Aguilar like in the 19th round almost.
I prefer Aguilar. I like explosiveness. Although I acknowledge that the Jacoby Myers, like maybe he puts up a 9 for 45 or whatever with all those short passes. But I like the explosiveness out of Aguilar, and I think that I'd be taking Aguilar ahead of Myers. That's my position.
Yeah, we share a brain on that. I mean, I guess for me, I just go back to the contract and this what looks to be a new offense. So, I mean, how often are they going to really be, running 3 wide receiver sets? How often are they going to have a slot receiver on the field? Are they going to is it going to be Aguilar and then, another big bodied receiver that's going to be mostly blocking and then the tight end? So a lot of question mark. But I mean, there's been quite a bit of hype coming out of camp. So it's tough. Sometimes you can get both, if you go, RB robust and you're just in need of a wide receiver, then maybe just drop one, I guess, after the first few weeks.
I think you're right. They're gonna put both those tight ends on the field. That almost feels like at least over 50% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna see the Jonnu and the Hunter Henry. So it's really a matter of how you fill out the rest of the position players, and who gets the playing time.
We've seen Aguilar produce as a wide receiver 3 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So he finished as a wide receiver 3, and they gave him a big contract. And the sample Myers flashed, but his sample size is so small. I'm willing to bet on Aguilar. I don't have a ton, but he's certainly appealing. And who knows? That offense could exceed expectations. And I think if one wide receiver is playable, I think it's going to be Aguilar. I think you could find guys like Myers on the waiver wire and FFPC, regularly as well. Okay, so Shelley's boy Ramondre Stevenson goes here. Sorry, Shelley, we will not get another Ramondre share.
That's okay because we already got Damian Harris.
There you go.
And this is just like Theo. I told you every time I'm in a draft, Brian Edwards gets taken in the 13th, 14th round. And if I'm not seeing the draft, I watch all these draft boards on Twitter. Like he's not even like my guy. It's just like I like to draft him and just sitting there in the 15th, 16th. He always goes so early if I'm sitting there in the draft, and if I'm not in the draft, I'm just like, oh, he's undrafted. Oh, there he's in the 20th round. It's like it's absurd. But anyways, I had Brian Edwards loaded in our queue, and now he's gone. So what are you gonna do?
Yep, you're just destined to never get him. But
No, that's the way it works.
So, Josh, you're going to go with Giovanni Bernard if he's here at the 4 spot.
Yeah.
Okay, and I like that pick a lot in the 15th.
Guilds, here's a question for you. Have you joined any more slow main event drafts? I know you just finished the 2-hour one. You got any others fired up?
Nah, not yet. I think I might wait for the onlines to start. You know, the regular onlines to kick off, and then I have the 2 live as well. I think 4. I'm looking at total.
Nice. And Abib, you just started a slow main.
So I've done one solo.
You've done one, okay.
And I did a joint one with Deo. That one's finishing up, and waiting on some others to join the next.
Nice. Yeah, I joined a 6-hour one. I've been giving Theo and the guild some updates as we go, and that one is like moving like seriously like 7 picks a day. It is brutal in the 6 hours.
That's awesome. Yeah, I hate it, but you know.
Oh my god! It's like somebody send help. It's fine.
I can't join the 6 hour. Yeah, I mean the 2 hours. I'm sitting.
6 hours, and I'm in the 12 spot. So you know, I get on the clock, and it's like, okay, my like fun is over in like in an instant too. So it's a mess.
There was actually a funny story in mine. I'm not really a story, but there was a guy that was maxing out almost every pick early on. So of course I made a comment, you know, like in a chat, hey, you know, would you mind speeding up the process?
Yeah.
So he responded back saying, you know what? Now I'm going to max out every single pick. Thanks for making a big stink out of it. But the funny part was after this happened, he like went on auto like every pick. It was like the fastest picks he's ever made. Every time he was like auto picks. I don't know. It was like a reverse kind of. I don't know what he was doing there.
No, I like that. We had one guy in ours who was just like, "Hey, can we flip the picks? Can we flip the picks?" And I think someone told him like, "Hey, it's summertime. Like, you know, let people draft." And he's been basically maxing out every time. I think in some kind of like passive aggressive show and defiance.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny too. It's just the joys of doing slow drafts with strangers.
Yeah, I don't mind. You know, people are busy. I get that. Yeah. If you're going to go in the room, right, and you could see that log, they enter a room, they leave, yada, yada. And then you wait another 2 hours to like, just make the pick.
Yeah. you gotta crunch the numbers.
Yeah.
You gotta crunch the numbers. You gotta play the scenarios. Come on.
Just make the pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I'm asking that much.
And Josh, how about you? Are you signed up for any mains yet?
I have a live main scheduled right at the end of August. Looking to probably add 2 more to the mix right around that same time. So it'll probably be max of 2 or max of 3. That one I have scheduled is with a group of people right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. I like that.
Now you are on the clock.
Okay, so
I love the OJ Howard pick. But we're on the clock, Theo.
I would go with number 2 or number 5. That would just be my preference.
Yep. Let's go 2.
Let's go 2. So we'll get a P Ryan chair. And then coming back around, I'm gonna add a couple guys in. Gil, where are you looking here?
Yeah, so when I'm at this spot in the draft, I don't mind taking a D or and the kicker actually, just because, especially when I'm in the 12 hole, I like to you're kind of behind the 8 ball to start, so I like to, if I could gain an edge somewhere, I like to take it. So I don't mind going one of the top 3 kickers and a defense who I think is going to be pretty solid this year.
You are up next.
By the way, Beeb, good talking to you, man. Congratulations. And we never talked in person. Congratulations. There's
I know. I'm just like, I never knew what you looked like. This is awesome. It's nice to put a name to a face.
There you go. Yeah. Only missing some hair. That's it.
We're all getting there.
Yeah.
So, Shelly, we're coming back around here. I also like number 5, our defense. I queued up the Pats defense. I like them before this defense run goes. I think they're very appealing to me here.
You are up next.
I like it.
Do you want to?
Yeah, let's go there. I queued up a couple of guys. I will just tell you naturally, I start to get a pit in my stomach thinking about how few yellow I see on our board. But I like the idea of New England here, and I like their bye week too. Presumably we won't have to stream if they're as good as we think that we are.
Set it and forget it. Let's set it and forget it till week.
Yeah,
14.
go ahead and grab them.
Okay, cool. I got it.
Now you are on the clock.
Which way are you going, champ?
I don't want to be left out of the defensive run here.
Yeah, good job, Gilles. You did it. You did it.
For the pod, or we'll go ahead and do this for the live stream.
All right. And since we got a ton of listeners, we got quite a few people in the stream. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on wherever you get your podcast feed. These are fun. We do a few of these. Theo and I, this is our third one that we've done live, and just really appreciative of the guests that come on and participate in the nonsense, even though we're distracting them from filling out their drafts. So anyway, subscribe here on the YouTube and on the podcast.
Yeah, what I'm noticing,
I will say I like what Dave Hubbard has done here at the 7 spot. He was able to get Brady quite late. He gets Brady in the 11th round. So he has I think that's great value. And his wide receiver core is strong, and I love the Eckler Chubb start. So I like Team 7. It's an interesting build, and I like it.
So Hubbard's an interesting, and look, I can call this a segment, call it whatever you want, but the somebody knows something. I think about and Gilles, this is one of yours from last year too, like the Eno Benjamins. And who is that? Who is the Dolphins wide receiver / running back? Somebody help me out with that dude's name that everyone liked from Kentucky.
Ben Bowden.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, Lynn. Yeah, Lynn.
Eno Benjamin, Lynn Bowden, like those guys were just like once like maybe the Gildeses and the Abibs and the Hubbards and the Seuses of the world started taking them. They just started rocking up the boards. Now I know we're not going to give anything away because we're sort of in that time. But I'm squarely starting to see these Olsen picks move forward in the drafts and ADP in the somebody knows something bucket, or the hey, that's a great pick that I want to steal in future drafts bucket. Because I've been seeing more of those picks as been going along. So of course it's Hubbard who does it again here in this one.
Yeah, so Olsen has kind of lapped with JV and Hawkins for a while. I just think there's a lot of people who are just not betting on Mike Davis. And I think that whoever wins that backup job in Atlanta has some appeal to them. So it's interesting. I mean, Hawkins people were excited about, even though he's an undrafted free agent. And now it's kind of Olsen's getting a little buzz in Atlanta. So I can see it. I drafted Olsen earlier this week in an NFFC draft, but I got him super late, like 18th round. So 15th is probably where he's going to end up the way it's looking.
See, I was looking at the guy he took after, and just now in the 6th. I've been taking a lot of him also. Elijah.
Yeah, Elijah he's
Mitchell.
A stud. It's crowded, but he's certainly talented. Elijah Mitchell has a lot of appeal. We just need Cisco backfield. It's just so crowded right now. But Mitchell's good. He's a good player, and he can catch the ball. So he's appealing.
And I just don't, Shanahan can go any way, whatever the flavor of the week. If this kid has a nice few carries, turns into a big half, the next thing you know, he's a staple in that backfield, and you're like, wow, he went pretty late.
And I like, Josh, what you just did. You just grabbed JV and Hawkins there in the 16th round. So you've basically gotten two of your guys. You said before your 14th round pick, Aguilar or Bernard. You got them both 14, 15. Now you've come back as we're kind of talking about the Mike Davis Allison situation. You grabbed JV and Hawkins.
We got a kicker run.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the way the board lays out, this was kind of the plan. Once I only went one running back, grab a few around 9 through 11, come back around and get some sort of handcuff setup. Would have preferred Elijah Mitchell over Hawkins, but I'm going to take what I get at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkins there's appeal to him. Sean Siegel of RotoViz is talking him up every chance he gets, and his argument is, the fact that he was undrafted should not play into it. Pre-draft, people were high on him. The landing spot is good, and he thinks that he could be, the potential Philip Lindsay of this group. So I liked Hawkins at Louisville. I certainly don't like that he was undrafted, but Mike Davis and Quadri Olison, that's nothing scary about that, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a joystick player, so I want guys that have that capability late in the draft. And if they bust, they're onto the waiver wire and onto the next one that comes up.
Hey, really quickly, somebody mentioned the letters FFPC real quick.
FFPC.
Nice. Hey, speaking of FFPC, it's where we're drafting. They got these great tournaments. They have the football guys. The main event slow drafts are kicking off 2 hour, 6 hour. We just talked a little bit about that. If you want to drive yourself crazy, do the 6 hour ones. If you want to have a better time, do the 2 hour ones. We've got the champion here, one of the last 2 football guys that we're drafting tonight, but they also have $5 best balls. They've got a new best ball tournament for $125. I think the grand prize on that is $100,000. I think that everyone in this room has done a couple of those. They've got dynasty, high stakes, low stakes, any way to get your fix. Draft with internet strangers. They become your internet stranger friends, and sometimes they join internet stranger podcasts with you. And that's what we're doing tonight, all through and because of the FFPC. So great and natural segue, Theo. Appreciate it. FFPC is a sponsor of the show, and they do a great job. And obviously, we love to play there, even if we have the master of FFPC complaints on in the guilds.
So Josh went with Jacob Harris, and I'd like to get back to and hear his thoughts on him. But which way are you looking, Abib, with your structural build here?
Probably going to try and grab another running back, likely, and or a wide receiver. So I'll be going for one of those position players.
And then, so getting back to Josh, is Harris a guy? And I'll give Deo on First and 15 a little credit. That's his guy. He liked the profile of Harris. I enjoyed his thoughts on him. Harris is a freak athlete, UCF guy. Josh, do you think he could make an impact this year, or is that just the guy you're taking shots on, or what's the rationale for that pick?
Yeah, he just fits the profile of a guy I want to take a shot on in the FFPC. I mean, his metrics from an athletic standpoint, his physical size, those are the kind of targets I like to go after, and to see what can hit or not hit, coming out of the clock. So whether it's a Logan Thomas type, or this Jacob Harris that's somewhere between tight end and big receiver, like a Claypool, I'm hoping to see something come out of it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and he's, athletically, there's nothing wrong with him at all. So it's interesting. They take him. They take
before we get too far, we are on the clock. So if you want to grab,
so I think we stack up the kicker quarterback correlation there, and we go with Greg the Leg. So let's take a little Greg the Leg and bet on these Dallas Cowboys to score a lot of points. Yeah, so Harris it's interesting. It's an interesting pick, and I wonder if he's going to get a little buzz in camp, and if not, you took him in the 17th round. It's not going to do anything to you.
And he's a guy I can make a decision on pretty quickly early in the season. So if he hits, great. If not, he goes to the waiver, and you're in week 1 or week 2 trying to find somebody else to backfill that spot. So at the end of a draft, I would rather take shots on guys like that have a big upside if they hit, and if not, I can make a quick decision.
And Josh, to put you on the spot, because it's important to make all guests feel comfortable, how much percent of that pick was just to impress in front of Abib, knowing that one of his co-hosts, Deo, loves the pick?
I don't know, but I'll say I don't think Abib loves Harris.
I know it's Deo.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is the first time I've met Abib, so Nice to meet you, but yeah, I'm not.
I'm telling you, if you're sharing a mind with Deo, best of luck to you.
Yeah,
Hey, come on, Billy, that's a tight end whisperer. That's a tight end
He
whisperer.
is a tight end
So,
whisperer,
I mean,
so that's only a good thing.
They got the
So-
pass tight end hit, so we gotta factor that in.
I play a lot of Dynasty, so he's been one of the
like
targets
that.
in Dynasty. So
No, I just being an asshole as per usual. So in the 17th round, Hubbard also goes with Dokes. I think that he's been another one, Thea, that you and I have been taking. I think both in Dynasty.
I have probably on Dynasty and NFFC and FFPC. I'm probably 95% exposure on Dokes. So when he wins the job in the preseason, it's champagne popping in the Greminger household. It's a crowded backfield. Malcolm Brown's there. Gaskin's got the job right now, but Dokes is a beast, and I hope he gets an opportunity. He's the kind of guy that could really tear up those preseason games. I think he's got talent, and I hope he gets a chance this year. And I like seeing Dave Hubbard take him.
Yeah, I mean, put that in the somebody knows something bucket. I mean, once he starts creeping up from that 18, 19, 20, right, the kicker defense range, once we start seeing those lottery tickets start move up into the 13, 14, 15, 16, like that's when you know that these guys are starting to trend. Probably because, and again, like it's okay to steal ideas. That's the way life goes. But right, he's definitely one of those picks I think is going to start to get stolen and be pushed up ADP.
I'll say Guilds. I like the Hayden Hurst pick a lot. I had him queued up. I think that he at this late in the draft, Hurst is a great value.
All right, we're on the clock, Theo.
So Shelley, I wouldn't mind taking a stab at number 4, or number 2. I don't think he's going to win the job there, but I think he'd have a slight chance of winning that Jets running back job. I think Ty Johnson might be. Let's take a Ty Johnson share.
Yeah.
Now you are on the clock.
I do want to talk about a little bit, and I know you're about to be on the clock, Abib, but I like the Josh Kelly pick. I'm interested. First of all, I have a ton of Eckler, slightly an unhealthy amount. Was taking him probably too early in the first round. But I also like the idea of a Josh Kelly if I'm not taking Eckler. And I think that there was some strange Larry Roundtree buzz earlier this week. What are your thoughts there? Because I like the idea of taking these shots on the Chargers backfield as well. Even though I know that Josh Kelly had some confidence issues or some fumbling issues, did not endear him at all to a previous coaching staff.
Yeah, so I think we all kind of understand that there's probably going to be some value with whoever the A-back is. Not to throw out that term, but whoever's a complimentary back to Eckler, there's some potential value there. And so trying to identify that person, I think, is tough. So there's obviously we've heard that Justin Jackson may get cut, and I think that's more just kind of beat writer speculation than but maybe there's some truth to that. But Josh Kelly just seems like he was a rookie last year. We kind of rewind back to training camp buzz. He was getting a lot of positive reports. Things terms like he's dominating camp. And it appeared as if they wanted to have him be that complimentary back to start the season off, and he just wasn't ready. So I mean, it was COVID, not much of an off season. He's a rookie, so it's one of those late round picks that maybe if he kind of figures it out, maybe with an additional off season, maybe hit a little bit of lightning in a bottle with a late round pick.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And he had that one sick goal line jump drill in Hard Knocks. That definitely endeared me to him for a couple of drafts last year. Once I saw Hard Knocks, there's nothing like getting suckered into the Hard Knocks, which is why, Theo, I love that we're drafting Cowboys in this one, because I think that all the Cowboys are going to get the Hard Knocks bump here shortly. So I think it's a get them while we can before they all get half round bumps.
So what are we thinking here, Josh? Do you give us a sneak preview?
Yeah, I'm looking at another tight end. I think there's kind of several in this range, whether it's Dan Arnold, Tyler Conklin, Dalton Schultz, Jordan Akins, one of these guys. I'm leaning towards Schultz just as another, week one decision point. I was considering OJ Howard had he come back around, as a guy I can decide, to put into the lineup on week one. So if Schultz is here, I'm probably going to go Schultz.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the Jarwin Schultz, it seems like a lot in the fantasy community think that it's decided it's Jarwin, but nobody's really said that out of Dallas. And I think that Schultz is good enough that it's going to at least be a competition. So I can see him being a factor this year.
Hey, Gil, so you drafted Javonte Williams. We have another somebody knows something pick. Hubbard's doing the 4 in a row here of these these running backs that make you think a little bit, and again, stealing their ideas for later. Goes Mike Boone. I'd say Theo. I know that I think that maybe you and I were drafting, or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm lumping you in and you don't want to be involved. But I was taking some Mike Boone earlier this offseason. Obviously, Javonte Williams slowed that down, at least for me. But I think maybe there's some rumblings that if Melvin Gordon gets cut, maybe Mike Boone's like back in the fold. Gills, you drafted Javonte Williams, that's why I'm throwing it to you. Any thought on like the Denver backfield and kind of how you're viewing that situation? Is that why you're high on Williams, because you think Melvin may be out of the picture?
Not necessarily.
Or is it just value? You found value and you went for it.
Yeah, that, and I think he's going to be a special player. I do. I could see his arc kind of similar to Jonathan Taylor last year, or even Swift, where it might be a little frustrating early on, and as the season progresses, he starts to get a bigger role. If not, I mean, if Gordon's cut, obviously he's the guy from week one, and that would be massive in round 6. I was actually surprised he lasted to this spot because he's been rising in recent boards. So yeah, once he fell to that 5-6 turn, I was smashing that pick. But yeah,
I think he got to you at the 6 because we couldn't take Hunt and Javonte. But yeah, he was definitely loaded up in the queue there for us. Thought about it.
Yeah, I've continued to I've taken a fair amount of Boone this year, and a shout out to Dan Williamson of the GOAT District. Dan's been on the Boone train for a while. If anything happens with Melgo, then Boone becomes a very, very appealing zero RB type guy and high end handcuff, because Javonte, I agree, he's got a great shot. But I wonder if they would slow his work the first few weeks, mix in a second back. So Boone, he was like, everybody loved Boone as a preseason guy, and then he let everybody down with that one. I think it was like a week 14 game or something like that, where he had the whole workload in Minnesota, and Amir Abdullah took the work away from him and fancy soured on him. But Boone is coming back around to being a draftable guy. So it's interesting. Very interesting with Boone. I took him in an NFFC recently, and I have him in a few FFPCs as well.
Yeah, and you see him on the field. I mean, he flashes, right? I mean, he's got
Mr. Preseason. He dominated preseason for years. I think 2 years in a row, he just ripped it up.
Yeah, he's got that burst. He kind of jumps off the page when you're watching him. So yeah, I guess Gordon's. I mean, that's a great pick for sure.
Yeah. So we're in the 19th round. I love playing this game called Who's the Rake. We absolutely have to be mean here a little bit. We have to pick one team structurally, picks wise, whatever that we didn't like. The good news is always give people an out. Look, you could just put it back on Theo and I and say, hey, you guys are the rake, and that's okay. That way no one's feelings get hurt, because we know you guys won't mean it, because obviously our team is not the rake. But let's start to be a little bit mean as we kind of wind down the draft. And along with being slightly mean here, again, all in good fun though, Liz asked, and of course, every time I post a YouTube comment, it covers up the Guild's face. So apologize for that, Guilds, ever so slightly. But Liz asked, side action, was Team 3 take a third quarterback here? So I don't know if anybody wants to use this as a segue to calling Team 3 the rake. But as we're kind of winding down on our picks and kind of firing up our last guys, any thoughts with who we think a surefire rake here? So let's be mean with a smile on your face.
I mean, I think 3 was
Guilds.
Unconventional of the draft, I think, but even that owner took guys I like a lot. They just a lot sooner than I would have. But honestly, this draft is, it's it's pretty vanilla.
It's been pretty tight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not anything that is not in like your last draft or whatever.
Oh no, that was such a mess.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the last draft more than this. A little too much competition in these streets tonight. The last draft was the last draft. Dave Hubbard and Billy Muzio split a team that turned out to be an awesome one, and we had an awesome team as well. So the value kept falling and falling. This one,
and Thea, we're on the clock. Do you want me to just take a guy? Because I absolutely will take a guy here.
I'm sorry. I was actually looking at a quarterback for our bye week because Dak has the early bye.
Gross. No second quarterback.
No, then go ahead. You could take. I prefer 2, but your call.
All right, let's do 2.
I can't believe he's lasted this long. James White.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yep. All right, so it's been a pretty tight draft. We agree. I don't think there's been anything crazy. I think you brought it up. Team 3, right? They took a lot of guys ahead of ADP, but it's really hard, right, in these default people for getting their guys. So understood. Anything else that catches somebody eye, maybe not even just maybe being mean, maybe not even rake. So if you want to be nice to people, anybody that did something that like interested you as we went through the draft, either from like a game theory perspective or an interesting build that they put together. Anything catches anybody's eyes?
I think that from a tournament perspective, I wonder how many McCaffrey-Ridley teams there are right now.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So I think that a McCaffrey-Ridley team could be a potential, wide receiver 1 overall and running back 1 overall combo. I really like what Team 1 did up through the 8th round. I'm just not a huge Fournette guy this year. I don't think I'll have too much, and I think they could have avoided the Stafford pick. But I love their start. And then other than that, I thought Hubbard's got a good team. I thought Josh has a ton of firepower. Abib is a good team.
So pausing on Josh. Josh, I love what you did. The Kamara Kittle, AJ Brown. The more AJ Brown slips, I just love him at that 304 play, and then of course you followed it up with guys that I take all the time, especially in the 4th, 5th round, the DJ Moore, T Higgins. So you're on and give you compliments here. I absolutely love what you did.
I have a type when it comes to receiver, right? And it kind of shows in the types of players that I pick. I think the one I debated the most was probably Higgins between Mike Evans, and I've picked Mike Evans or T Higgins in that kind of spot before. And so this was just kind of let's go with Higgins this time. But I think that was probably the hardest pick
You are next.
out of this draft so far.
Yeah, and we'll continue. But Theo, you want to make our last pick and then?
Yeah.
It's gross. I mean, I'll throw a guy. If you want me to just draft a guy, I got him.
No, I would like another quarterback, but if you don't want to do another quarterback, then I like your guy Pringle here as a 20th round dart throw wide receiver.
Okay, let's do that. I like that much more.
Okay. Let's take him.
Now you are on the clock.
Yeah, I was between him and Tony there at the end. Pringle.
Yeah, it's just slim pickings here.
Yeah, I thought that this draft was pretty tight. I mean, there was a lot of value that was pushed up and sucked up, and I think we talked about some quarterbacks that may be falling in other drafts, and I think that they were all taken, right? That the Wentzes, the Tuas, the Darnolds, they're all gone in the 18th, 19th round. So Josh, just sticking on your draft, and maybe we start to do a quick team review here as we slow down. Josh, we'll continue with yours then. I want to get your thought process a little more on like the Higgins and Evans, because I tell you, I love Higgins. I would take Higgins, 10 times out of 10 if he's in the 5th round. Having said that, my expectation would have been that Evans would have been gone, long gone in the 4th by the time I have to come around for that decision. So I'm just interested in just like, seeing Evans that late. I wonder if I would have gone Evans in that situation, only because it would be so rare to have him found there. But wanted to get your perspective there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, and I think that was probably the one I spent the longest trying to decide what to do. And ultimately I decided to go Higgins because I looked at my shares and what I have so far, and so I tried to smooth that out at that point. So, so it really kind of boiled down to that at that stage.
Nice. Before we move off your team, any regrets? So I don't think that Higgins or Evans is a regret. Any regrets as we went through the draft? Just to ask the question. Any in the moment self-reflection?
Yeah, I think that the Claypool pick too was kind of. I was trying to hope for Sutton or Fant to come back around. I didn't want to pull. I didn't really want to pull Chenault all the way up. But once those two went off the board, I decided to pass on Herbert there and go with Chenault to stick with the robust receivers. Through that first 8 rounds. So that was kind of another really decision point for me. That hopefully that pays out. Plays out to be a good pick. But that was the other kind of maybe regret that might turn out to be a negative for me.
Nice. All right, B, over to you. What'd you like about your roster? Anything interesting that you did along the way that you're not typically doing? We'll start there.
No, just a typical boring build. Nothing sexy. Just I like a kind of balanced build. I like to kind of be able to anticipate, what's coming back at me in the next round, and then if something falls, it's kind of like a lovely surprise. For me, I just the first and second round are just hard. I mean, there's just so many players that I can tell myself a great story on, and trying to figure out who to pick in the first round and specifically the second round is really, really tough. I mean, it was tough to pass on Waller. And then I was strongly considering Ridley, but because I drafted so early and I was getting Ridley at points in the third round, it's, maybe, I know I need to sort of kind of get over that, but it's hard to, pull the trigger that early in the second, even though it's appropriately priced. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I'm fairly happy with the draft. I like that Michael Thomas fell to me. That was
that was a good one.
So that really kind of made the draft for me, and I think allowed me to be able to kind of maneuver my way through and create the build that I was hoping for.
Nice. Any regrets or any call them nervous tummies picks for you, where you're just you're on the clock and it was one of your toughest picks, outside the first round, right? Because that's you trying to mix up exposures, or you just trying to do it. Was there anything else as the rest of the draft fell that you were really stuck between a pick, or maybe even something that maybe turned into a regret there?
Yeah, the fourth round pick, I love Robert Woods, so trying to decide between him and Chris Carson. I almost went Robert Woods just because I've been seeing Myles Gaskin fall in drafts, and he's someone that I think I'm kind of coming around to. But I was hoping that someone in that tier of wide receiver twos, like that bottom tier, would fall to me, and I got lucky that one of them did in Deontay. So he's like the last guy in that tier for me. So that ended up working out. So but the Logan Thomas pick was tough. Maybe a little bit past ADP. I'm not sure where I'm at on Logan Thomas. I don't mind it. He's a nice, stable tight end. But it was tough to kind of pass on some of the other wide receivers there. So that was probably the most difficult pick.
Yeah. And before we get to the guilds, I mean, I mentioned it. I have a naked, again, for better or worse, naked Troutman team.
Yeah.
If you did pass on Thomas, right? If you grab one of those wide receivers, are you, happy or sad? Would you have felt comfortable going Adam Troutman, or do you think that would have maybe changed your whole board as the draft progressed?
He probably would have been one of my first tight ends off the board, but I probably would have, instead of going Alexander Madison or Devontae Parker, I probably would have loaded up on a few more.
Else.
Yeah, maybe some people with some tight ends with higher floors. But I think getting Logan Thomas, kind of affords me the idea of being able to get Troutman and then taking a few stabs later on. I think probably my nervous pick was a Jordan Akins pick.
Was that one where we distracted you from the draft being your primary focus?
Maybe a little bit. I don't hate it, but I can tell you that's probably my first Jordan Akins share. He's come up in discussions recently, so that's part of the reason. A lot of vacated targets there. Potentially a tight end friendly offense, and they've lost some some of their tight ends from last year that produced in that offense. So we'll see. We'll see. Who knows?
I like it. Awesome. Thanks, Habib, for sharing. All right, Gilds.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
No, it's great having you on.
Gilds, your draft review, you promised in the DMs that you were going to mix it up a little bit. I know we kind of opened it, or we asked the question. I don't think we really ever addressed it. So maybe Theo, good pin to put in a future conversation. But mixing up ADP, forcing unique builds. You went with the Diggs Gibson start. What'd you like about this out of the 12 hole? What'd you do differently that you wouldn't normally do?
Yeah, it's just tough out of the 12.
Yeah.
He's already, and every time I look at it, I'm like, we'll see what happens. You really have to hit or be in a soft draft to love your team, I want to say. And this obviously was not a soft draft by any stretch. So, yeah, I mean, I like the beginning. I liked, the Antonio Gibson with those receivers. I mean, that strong foursome receivers right there. And
yeah,
Jamar Chase, again, that was intentional reach there just because, he's not found in that area of the draft much at all.
Yeah.
Not going to see that, the Diggs and the Chase combo. And, Chase, I know people, I'll tell you right now, I'd rather have Higgins or Boyd 2 rounds later. But I'm eyeing those late weeks, those champ weeks. And if he hits and you got a guy like Diggs with him, there's not going to be many teams that have that combo. So, it's kind of looking, on one hand at the league, but, also looking at the championship rounds as well.
Because they have that. I'm going to get it wrong, of course. They had that game against the Cowboys, right? In like the big money week. Is that what the shootout week that everyone's got the eyes towards?
The Chiefs, I think, is week.
Is it okay? Okay.
So yeah, that's definitely sticking in my mind. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, that could be 45-42, right? That game, if not higher. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to grab a piece, whether it's the Chiefs or Cincy, just in the back of my mind, having something of that big week 17, because that's where all the money goes to up front. Is that championship week. So that's always a part of my draft plan. So that's kind of why I went Chase there. Javonte, again, falling to the 5-6 is not something you really see much.
It's straight value, yeah.
He's going in round 4. I've seen.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. It's almost as if like Gilds, you could flip that Michael Carter who went 5-3 with Javonte Williams, basically from an expectation standpoint.
Yep. And then Herbert at 7-12 again. I mean, he's not really fallen that far, in recently. So I mean that to me, that, an auto pick, and then just paired him with Mike Williams, maybe get something there, some fireworks in the champ rounds again. And, the rest is kind of pretty much just cookie cutter, just kind of took what fell. But, yeah, I mean, it has options, it's got a potential for sure. But, yeah, I mean, it's not one of my favorite teams by any stretch, but
no. So I asked some of the other guys the nervous tummies pick or the regret pick. Let me change it up just slightly. Sometimes I feel when I'm out of the 12, my life is so dependent on what 11's doing, right? Was there anything that 11 was doing that was tripping you up, or did you have like a really nice an 11 that was like really good to you that you felt was like, okay, maybe they're sniping like one of my 2 picks, but basically I'm just not getting absolutely crushed pick after pick.
Yeah, you know what? Not really at all. There was one pick, the Ebron, in what was it, round 17? I was looking at it as a third tight. But yeah, we were not on the same guys for the most part. I guess J.K. Dobbins, if he passed on him at 3-4, that would have been hard to pass on. I feel like at that turn. Yeah, for the most part, I mean, he wasn't taking the guys I was really targeting. So yeah, it wasn't too bad in that respect.
I like it. Okay. All right. Well, Theo, I just talked a lot there. We've still got Josh and Gilds on, so I appreciate you guys hanging with us. Theo, anything else for Josh and Gilds, or you want to recap our team real quick?
No, I love drafting with you guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on, and Abib as well. I enjoyed talking to you guys on Twitter, and it was really nice to speak to you, face to face. And I respect both of you guys a lot in your team builds. Yeah, I mean, our team was. It's our first Waller share, Shelly, that we have together, so I'm thrilled about that. D-Hops, we could have gone a number of ways, but I'm happy to have a D-Hop share there. And then, we're betting on that Cowboys stack. And, I like 3 out of the 4 positions for our team. We're going to need to get by with Kareem Hunt and Damian Harris to start the year and, hope for some opportunities for our, Henderson, Murray, Hubbard, Gainwell, and P. Rhines. So
Yeah.
I like the team. It's not my favorite team we put together, but I think that we do have some juice with this team. So if things fall right, I think this team could do well. But it's going to be a tough one with the running backs. But hey, we don't mind finishing last if it gives us a chance to build a aggressive build like this. Nobody gets paid for finishing fifth in these competitions.
I gotta say, you guys crushed those running back rounds, 10 there to what?
Yeah,
15. With the Henderson, Latavius, those are money picks right there. I feel like those are smash picks, especially with the way you guys built this. If those, and you take one or two of those hits, you have a monster team here.
Yeah.
I think it's a great
in the mail for that.
No, it's a great point. You rarely get both of those guys. I don't know about the way you draft, but I hope to get one of those guys. Unless like a Pollard falls. So to get both of them, I think offers us a lot. And Gilds and Shelley and I are both on Hunter Henry as a tight end too. For us, we're betting on him, kind of exceeding expectations. So I was happy to get him in that mix as well. So I don't hate the team. I'm not as excited as last time, but I think that this team has a shot. So yeah,
but I think on the middle round running back, just to hit that, like I think that you and I were probably at like a strangle point if we were next to each other on that 9th round pick between Connor and Elijah Moore. I know you wanted Connor, Gilds took him. I would have absolutely.
That was the one pivot. I'll just interrupt you. The one great thing structurally is, Connor would have offered us an alternative to Harris to start out as a running back too. But the fact that we got Henderson and Murray, it kind of makes up for it.
I think it really made. That's what I was going with. I think that really made up for it, and I think that you'd been much less happy with me if we got Elijah Moore and then we got crushed on those middle round running backs. But I think that all shook out. So I don't have any regrets on not having Connor on this team.
Yeah, and Elijah Moore as a wide receiver 5 could be potentially really, really good for us. We're both high on him, and I know you were very upset to miss on him in your main event. So I'm glad we have another Elijah Moore share as well. So all in all, great draft with you guys. I would say let's do it again next week, but I think we all would like softer rooms next week.
Yeah.
So Gilds, would you have taken Elijah Moore if he?
Guys were sniping me more than the 11th pick, to be honest. Yeah, a lot of the guys, Devontae, Elijah. I was taking those guys if you weren't. So yeah, you guys were definitely.
Hold on, were you going to take Elijah Moore if we passed on him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was going to take him and Connor.
So there you go, Shelley. I said to Shelley when we were OTC, I said I think Elijah Moore will make it back to us. But yeah, you're not going to pass up that value. So
okay, all right.
Shelley,
so we were dead in the water either way. I like it.
Yep. And Latavius, I was just hoping he fell 2 more picks. I like Gus Edwards, but I still prefer Latavius out of the 2 there. But yeah, that was a nice pick for sure.
Appreciate that.
I like it, guys. Hey, Josh Gilds, this was awesome. Anything else that you guys? You want to plug your Twitter accounts, plug anything else you guys have going on? Just give words of wisdom as we part here.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Likewise, Tio. I think I've started following you last year through the Breakout Finder group. And appreciate the time to talk with you and get to meet you, Shelley and Gilds as well. So, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter at Josh McAtee, I'm spouting anything between fantasy football and sports cards. So
and ETH
and ETH,
Ethereum, and Ethereum.
That's right.
Crypto, baby.
McAtee.
You guys, you had it. Yeah.
How do I say that? Yeah, you got it. All right.
It was a blast, Josh.
All right, Gilds. Anything else from you?
Yeah, just echo what Josh said. Thank you guys, and Josh too. Thank you guys for having me on. And you can find me at _Gilds, GILDZ. If you want to follow, I'm always talking shop with anybody with fantasy, whether it's DMs or on my tweets. I'm very active on there. So yeah, I never turn anyone away. I'm always happy to help somebody. And I know Shelley, we talk a lot too through the DMs. So.
Yeah, you're great. You're too nice with the DMs. You let me slide in last year, and then of course I never stopped. So I appreciate it, man.
No, I'm always happy to talk fantasy, especially FFPC or FFC. You know, I'm always talking shop with folks. So yeah, I'm definitely happy to do so.
Awesome, guys. All right. Well, one last shout out there before we part. I mean, the chat was great tonight. Just a special shout out, at least from my perspective, when I'm going through the comments here. I think Casey and Liz were really showing out. So I really appreciate everyone who joined. That's awesome. All right, Theo, parting words, and where can we find you and what's next?
You can find me here in the GOAT District. Next week we have Jared Smola coming on, which will just be a tremendous guest. And check out some of our old episodes. And you can find my articles on Breakout Finder and PlayerProfiler.com. And you can find me on Twitter at the OG Fantasy. And yeah, I love doing these with Shelly. We're going to do a couple more of them, and hopefully cash a couple of tickets.
Yeah, Draft Sharks, because I think you and Gills have got the Draft Sharks Invitational coming up in August.
Yeah, we do. Beginning
Awesome.
of August. Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. We're not in the same room on that one, but it's pretty hard to avoid a hard room in that one.
I love it. All right, guys. Go ahead, Gills.
Back to the GOAT District. I'm a big fan of your show, and I appreciate all the work you guys do. And you guys are very sharp players, and I respect your game. So, yeah, keep up the great work, and I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys.
We really appreciate that.
At AM Schellenberg, one last shout out: like, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe in the podcast app. Subscribe, download, delete, re-download, all that good stuff. Thanks, everybody, and LFG. See you guys next time.
Good show.